It's Vandy as well, back at it again with another buddy fight deck profile. Sorry if it's a bit late on this, kind of wrong time and everything are gonna come over, but heck with it, it's still a buddy fight deck profile. So this one's old, but I never got the customizations for it until a few days ago. So and I've been dying to do this for you guys. So let's get started. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, donate to our Patreon, and yeah. So this is the Star Dragon World Prism Dragon deck profile. No, this is not Contest Crystal Dragon Thorough. I'm gonna tell you right now, more likely than not, all of my buddy fight decks will not have the real buddy. It will most likely be a trial deck buddy. Okay? Get that straight, so you don't go killing me for this. Anyways, my buddy for this one is Radiant Crystal Dragon Thora. Size 3, 7k power, 7k defense, critical of 2. Put the top card of your deck into its own P2 gauge. If it's on your center, it can't be destroyed by card effects during your opponent's turn, and has double attack and soul guard. It's okay because it's a wall for effects, and with the Pacific item that you can equip, it become a 9k wall and 9k attacker. But what I hate about that is that it only says during your opponent's turn. As in, during your turn, they can destroy it by effects. Like, when I fought this deck, because I asked my friend to use it against me so I can practice using Sun Dragons, and he had a Thora in the center. I used Ball Shine Buster during his turn to destroy his center, and since Athora had no soul at the time, it died by card effect, and I was like, dude, that sucks even for you, man. I mean, it just basically dies. It's not as good as Quintessence, and you can still take effect damage. Okay, so we run two size 2s. It's somewhat different than Whistling. Mixed Crystal Dragon, Muskrat. Oh, by the way, if you don't know what Prism Dragons do, they essentially like to keep a high life and not take any damage and just wall up their center. That's why the impact was so important to this deck, and why I was waiting a long time to do this. Anyways, Mario Crystal Dragon Muskrat. 3k power, 1k defense, critical of 1, size 0. Counteract. During an attack on the opponent's turn, pay a gauge and put them up from your field into your drop zone. If you do, nullify the attack. It's really useful. It just basically blocks off everything. It screws up your opponent's plays. It's just an annoying piece of crap that if I actually had more copies of, I would run it. One copy of Mixed Crystal Dragon Baldwin, because we don't run size 1s, because I don't think there are any, and we don't run other size 0s. And we only run him because of this one reason, and because I actually own him. 6k power, 5k defense, critical of 2. Put this card from your hand into the Soul of a Prism Dragon item on your field. And yes, their items are made for defense, not for attacking. Here's why I run it. The item gets 6,000 power, soul guarding, and attacking if you have a monster in your center. So it basically becomes an extra wall, which is really nice, and that means it can also attack. By the way, that card saved me. Because me and that card saved the Prism Dragon player, because what ended up happening is I almost one-turned him yesterday with the Sun Dragon deck, and it was because of that and a spell card that he had in his hand that let him live the turn with 1 life after being knocked down from 11 to 1. He lived by 1 because of that. So I'm glad that I run him. Now onto our size 3, since every other monster at this point is size 3. Great Crystal Dragon Bellnet. 6k power, 7k defense, critical of 2. Put the top card of your deck into its soul and pay 2 gauge. When you enter the field, you gain 3 life. Really nice. It gives you a bunch of life, and if you have the good item equipped, his defense becomes 9k. So, really good wall, really good life gain when he's placed. He's pretty much an all-around good card. I would say run him at 4 or 3. 2 copies of Calvados, who I wish I had more of. Chaos Calvados. 7k power, 6k defense, 2 crit. Put top card of deck into its soul and pay 1 gauge. When a monster on your center is attacked, even if he's not on your center, for this turn, nullify the penetrate of the attacking card. So, and yeah, soul guard. So, like, if this guy was on the center and your opponent's attacking card penetrate, then it can go nullify the penetrate. Screw your opponent. Nullifies penetrate. Really nice. I would say run it at 4 if I had more, which run it at 4. I just don't have enough to run it at 4. 3 copies of a card that I wish I didn't own, and I wish I had more copies of everything else. And once I do get more copies of everything else, I'm getting rid of it. Foam Crystal Dragon G-Bell. 6k power, 6k defense, critical of 2. Pay 2 gauge to call. When he attacks, you gain a life in his double attack. He does not have soul guarding. He doesn't have no way of getting soul. So, he basically is literally just there for the life gain and multi-attack, I guess. I mean, yeah. Oh yeah, the other problem with this deck, if I didn't bring it too soon, because it also had a gauge problem, and at the time this card I'm about to show you is the only way I could get gauge, but I finally got gauge getting cards. Good gauge getting cards. Black Crystal Dragon, Lucian Black. 5k power, 5k defense, critical of 2. When he enters the field, you get 2 gauge. Why do I run him? Because he gives me 2 gauge. At the time, before I got my good item, my only way of charging gauge was this, and then the trial deck item. Literally, I had to resort to this thing, and I still run it because sometimes I am in bad gauge situations, and I have no other better Prism Dragons to run. Next up, 4 copies of Yellow Crystal Dragon Lamiere. 7k power, 7k defense, critical of 3. Top card reader gets a soul pay gauge, she has soul guard, and that's pretty much it. I run him at 4 because I don't have anything better, but in some cases I actually do care about him more than G-Bell, only because he comes in 9-3-9, which is 1 crit better stats than a Thora. Barely, but Thor still has the better ability. Finally, it's a Thor himself. Who cares? Those are size 3s, and our monsters now into our spells. 2 copies of Desperation. You may like cast card if you have a Prism Dragon Center, pay 2 gauge, draw 2. Really nice because before this used to cost me gauge problems, now I would have to go, okay, I have to draw into Visible Light to get plays off, and I have to top deck a size 3, which most of the times that didn't happen, but who cares. I will probably replace that with Prism Relic, which is discard 1, gauge 3, draw 2. As long as you discard a size 3 Prism Dragon. 2 copies of Harry Glenn, the card I was talking about that saved the Prism Dragon opponent with Baldwin earlier. It's, you may only cast during attack the opponent's turn. Call Prism Dragon from your hand to the center by paying its call cost. It can be a size, whatever. And for this battle, it gets counterattack, and you change the target of the attack to that monster. Yeah, so even though the counterattack did not go off, the Dragon Force, the one that restands, end up hitting the Prism Dragon monster and whiffed the attack, so he lived by 1. Wow, that was lucky. 4 copies of Visible Light. You put the top 2 cards of your deck into your gauge, and then if you have 8 or more life, gain a gauge. Most of the times you're going to get off the 3 gauge, which is really nice. It's a good gauge charging card. I forgot I used to have Visible Light too, but for some reason I would never draw into it, even though I had 4 at all times, and I still do, which I question, but okay. 4 copies of Earthbearer. You all know what this does. When you're being attacked, gain a life. Even when I had the only trial deck, I still swapped Mars Bear for Earthbearer because you have 7k defense. Your opponent's probably gonna link attack over you. That Mars Bear is literally just there if they have enough power to get over it on their own, or they're just attacking you directly, or if they're going first. But Earth Bear is still better because you actually gain bonuses off it and just not nullifying an attack. 4 of the good dang shield for Prism Dragons. Radiant Show. I always thought this was Radiant Show, they just misspelled it. You only cast a card if you have a Prism Dragon. If a Prism Dragon on your center is being attacked. This is stupid because it has to be the center, otherwise it's not going to go off. Pay a gauge, nullify the attack, and burn them 1. Most of the time, you're going to have a Prism Dragon center, but if you don't, what's essentially going to happen is that you can't use that shield. I've been in situations where I have 3 copies of it, and even though this happened once, I had 3 copies of it, and it didn't have a center. I got screwed up because even though I had the good item that has 5k defense, I still got screwed up because I couldn't do jack. And I just got wrecked. I had so much gauge and I couldn't do anything. I would have surrendered, but I don't do that. I lost the game. 4 copies of Emerald Spikes. 0k power, 0k crit, 0 crit and 4k defense. These Prism Dragon items are made for attacking besides with Baldwin, but they have 0 crit anyways. Pay a gauge to equip. Prism Dragons on your center gain 1k attack and defense. And counteract. Choose a Prism Dragon monster in your field. Put this card to the drop so the next time be destroyed it stays on the field. Really nice for Thor protection or just battle protection. I've done this before where I fought against Liai players. And I've gone attack with the Thora, kill off this. And then yeah, try to destroy me now. I would say if you're not going to run this in your main deck, run it in your sideboard for just for the Liai matchup. Like how I do. To be fair, that actually saved a Thora. That saved a Thora. I knew he had Liai. And I had this item, and I'm about to show you the good item, and that, and I was like, screw it. Pay a gauge, equip this, because it's gonna die anyways. Protect a Thora, and it worked, because they were stupid enough to use the trap. But it's not run for its extra 1k, it's just run for that ability of effect destruction. Okay, next up, Crystal Greaves. 0k power, 0 crit, and 5k defense. Pay gauge to equip. Abilities of all Prism Dragons on your center cannot be nullified, and they get plus 2k power and plus 2k defense. This ability cannot be nullified. So Soul Guard can't be nullified, so essentially they can't touch the Soul Guard part with Yai, and then they can't nullify this ability to give everything plus 2k. And at the beginning of your opponent's final phase, if you have a Prism Dragon on your center, you gain 2 gauge. This is my gauge card because it literally just charges 2 gauge, and it meets the requirements for the impact on its own, which costs 2 gauge. Really nice. 4 copies. Some people say, why don't you run Crystal Crest and Greaves over Emerald Spikes? Because I'm like Hinata Zoro. I actually don't want to take damage with this deck. If I have a chance to avoid damage, I will avoid that damage. If I had Spiritomb, I would actually consider it, but I don't have... No, I'm sorry. If I had... whatever its name was, the thing that's at the beginning of your final phase, destroy everything on your opponent's field that's a monster, draw cards equal to that, and then burn them equal to that, then I would run it, but I don't have it. Now, 4 copies of the impact. Christiana Crystal Shoot. You may not cast a card during your opponent's final phase if you do not take any damage during this turn, and you have a Prism Dragon on your center, and your opponent has 4 life or less. Pay 2 gauge, deal 4 damage. This damage cannot be nullified, and it cannot be reduced. This card cannot be nullified, and the damage cannot be reduced. And if your opponent's life becomes 0 from it, they can't change it back, and they can't revive. Basically, what this means is, unless they're playing Drago Uno or Vanity Cell, they're instantly gonna die to this, which is really nice. Broken as hell. And since it can only be activated during your opponent's final phase, Crystal Greaves gets the cost for it on its own. That was the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry that this isn't meta anymore. I would have brought it to you meta, but I never got the cards when I needed them, so hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, donate to the Patreon. We will be doing a fight either later today or tomorrow for the second part of Steel Blade Dancers versus Mini Gear Gods. We just forgot to do them the other day. Okay? Don't forget to raise your flag. Can you pull a buddy rare?